Well, guys, it's been a minute, and apologies for that, but as you go, I've been on holiday, but it's time to take a look at the 2 cards that we got from the non-Ministravaganza. Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. And yeah, I had a holiday, so well, you know, what of it? But I got some nice surprises on holiday. Ministravaganza was cancelled, which I was sad about, but then also like, cool, I'm not going to miss it.
You definitely weren't sad about it, let's be honest.
I really wasn't. Quinn's here, by the way.
Hello. Me.
So Quinn, we got some things from Ministravaganza. We'll talk about some of the other stuff in a later video, but we're here to talk about the 2 newest members of the Asgardians. Skurge.
No, I like this. We're making up slang, you know. It's how language and culture evolves. We just slam words together.
This is true. This is true. So we've got, let's get their real names. So we've got Skurge the Executioner, and then we have Heimdall the All-Seeing, also known as Heimdall and Skurge. So we got their panels to play last week. I think what's quite nice about this video, Quinn, again, rather than the quick reactions that we used to do, we've both had time to play with them, haven't we? I've managed to get...
I've got 2 games in, and I think you've got the same?
No, I've had like 4 games now with... yeah, well, I haven't been asleep for 24 hours because I'm jet-lagged
I also forget that you don't like fall asleep at 5 in the morning like I do, so you're actually awake during the day.
Yeah,
this is true. A novelty to me.
Well, no, I was awake all last night, from 7:30 last night until now recording this, so 6 o'clock UK time on the Tuesday, so I've been up 23 hours now. But yeah, so if I get anything wrong, it's not my fault.
I mean, it is still your fault. You made the choice to be awake that long.
This is true. This is true. Quinn, let's start off then with Skurge. Or Skurge the Executioner. Let's run through his card and we'll give our feedback on what we think of him, the games that we've played and things. So, Skurge the Executioner, aka Skurge, he's 4/3/2 on his defences, 6 stamina on his front, 5 stamina on his back. I mention that now because it's the only change on his card, on his backside. 3 threat, so not the 2 threat that people were saying he would be. Size 2, medium move, and he comes on a small base. So overall, Quinn, you know, it's 3s across the board, but we've moved 1 over. I'm okay with that. Skurge is known as being not the cleverest of people, but
it's something you 2 have in common, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Something you can bond over.
But I think in terms of his stats, pretty standard. Like, you know, 3 threat stats, really.
I mean, you know, he's got slightly above average stamina. Most 3s, I'd say, were 5/5, not 6/5.
Yeah, 5/5 is typical, I think, isn't it?
In keeping with, like, the other Asgardian 3 we've already had in the form of Valkyrie, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, very much so. And I do like that. And I think that is one of the things that the 3 threats have in Asgard is they are front-loaded. And we spoke before, haven't we, that there's more value to health on, or at least for most characters, on the healthy side of a character than there is on the injured, because they can contest things for longer, basically. So yeah, there's more value there. So maybe that's something that Asgard have got going for them, and maybe it's a trait we see carry on. Obviously, Thor doesn't work like that. I think he gets more on his flip side.
And also doesn't really have above average stamina for a 5.
No, he doesn't have above average but for a 5. But we're not talking about Thor. We ripped him to shreds in the last video. Let's take a look at his attack. So he's got 2. First of all, Battle Axe. After this attack is resolved, the character gains 1, and it's a bleed on a wild, and it's a range 2, 6 strength. Strange that it's a flat builder on a 6 dice.
Because of the 6 dice.
Because it's a 6 dice. Yeah. But even so, you know, other 3 threat characters where we've seen a 6 dice builder, I want to say people like, well, Shuri comes to the top of my head, and she's reduced to 1 no matter what she does.
Yeah.
So quite a good builder. Like, you know, yes, it's not going to give the power, but 6 dice for a builder on a 3 threat, especially with that bleed. I think he's going to be able to dish out some
It can
reasonable
really
damage.
like stack up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, it does a good job of making him feel like a threat. Because I think
Yes.
that's something we're going to get onto in a little bit, is that there's probably not a great deal of incentive for your opponent to target Scourge unless, he's in that midst of battle and he's got that battle axe just ready to start chopping, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then his spender, the Executioner. So it's a range 3, strength 8. Again, on a 3-threat character, that is pretty darn good. But it does cost 4 power. If the target has the bleed special condition, he gets to reroll up to 2 attack dice. So very similar to what like Drax does, where he can dish out the bleed and then his follow-up gets a benefit from that. But this will also dish out bleed as well on a wild. So yeah, up to 2 rerolls, Quinn, on that. I'm okay with it. Like, it's okay. I really like, and we just spoke off air, didn't we? I really like the range 3 on it. That feat, if this was range 2, I'd have been a bit like, it's pretty meh. Like, there's not much to it. But yeah, range 3, I think, just means that you can be holding a back point and you've got a bit more of a chance to be able to, try and take a swing at someone.
Yeah, you can reach out and touch people.
Yeah. First superpower then. Storm Giant Strength. 3 cost. Choose an interactive terrain feature, size 3 or less, within range 2, and throw it short. And as always with most throws, once per turn. Yeah,
it's not what I'd been expecting from Scourge. I also don't know about like the naming convention for it, whether that's like a lore thing for him, whether he's like part Jotun or whatever.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. I'm not, other than Carl Urban with Des and Troy, I'm not too au fait with him, but I'm sure it's something to do with it. But look, throws are a great way of doing damage, and let's be honest, he can move, do a battle axe, and be guaranteed to do this round 1. So that's quite nice. He's got a lot that he can do there round 1. So, he's going to be able to dish out some damage, I think. So he then has his second superpower, Right Hand Man.
Reactive. He's second leader for Black Order.
Second leader for Black Order, yeah. When an enemy character within range 2 of this character targets another allied character with an attack, basically it's reverse bodyguard. Right?
It's intimidating presence or too dangerous to ignore.
Yeah. Or whatever else.
I don't think there's actually a character that has a name duplicated for that ability.
No, it's really weird, isn't it? But I gather it's...
Dwarf was the first one, but people tend to refer to Cage's one because you see him on the table a lot more.
You do. Yeah, you do. Cost 2 power, which is pretty standard for this. Any sort of bodyguard really is costing 2 power. And yeah, it's going to be situational, Quinn. You're not going to want to take a big mystic hit on him, but... he's going to be able to take a few...
If you're taking that big mystic hit on him instead of Thor, probably worth it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
There is the issue of him needing to be in the midst of everyone once again, which means that potentially Scourge doesn't lend himself to particularly wide maps.
Yeah, more down the middle, more gamma researcher, that sort of thing. Feels like it's going to be more of his home, doesn't it? He's got aggressive, which I think is... I think it's definitely an overlooked superpower. Obviously it's innate. It's obviously not setting the world on fire, but just that repositioning of yourself can be really, really nice. And again, it can act as a bit of a deterrent for your opponent to hit you. Whereas if you know that you're within range 2 and they go to attack somebody else, that could be the difference with you getting onto a point with him. Which is quite nice.
Yeah, getting onto a point or potentially getting in range 2 of more enemy characters to prevent even further attacks going where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. And then lastly, obviously Asgardian, so 1 additional power. So Quinn, a few things I want to break down then. And sorry, and as we say, reverse side, injured side, it is exactly the same, just -1 stamina. So a couple of things, Quinn. I think he's a very different character to what we thought he was going to be. We thought he was going to be more down the assassin-esque type route, where he may not be able to...
convinced of him being that 2-threat character, and therefore, because he'll be an Asgardian, he's going to generate that 2 power. Probably can't afford to have a 2 threat that can like interact twice turn 1. That sounds a bit good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So potentially giving him that sort of assassin or executioner ability where he doesn't contest, can't interact, but can just murder people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't mind his card. I think it's, is it what Asgard were crying out for? I don't think so.
I mean, he's a decent Doom Prophecy target, but he's still no Angela, right?
He's no Angela, yeah. The one thing I will say, Quinn, is what he does bring is somebody to sit alongside Angela who is affiliated, that if you've used that Doom Prophecy, can just stick to her. I mean, okay, Skurge, I've just got images of Skurge trying to keep up with Angela, a bit like he tries to keep up with Thor in the movie where he's running down the Rainbow Bridge and then he announces him to Loki. But, somebody to keep alongside her so that if she's used it, he can then take a hit for her.
Yeah, when you were talking about, him bringing something unique to the table or useful, I thought you were going to go with his incredible fashion sense.
His incredible fashion sense.
Through the painted model.
The artwork looks significantly better.
I mean, the artwork doesn't make him look like a toddler.
This is true. But Quinn, realistically then, when you've got him on the table, what was he like to play with from your side of things? How did you find him?
So, I mean, the thing is, the Asgard game I played when these two first dropped, it was actually the day of. We played Sword, which was a very awkward sort of mission. But, he did decent work. He got pushed back a bunch through some control effects, but then, Rainbow Bridge came in handy, put him right back in the middle of everything. And he almost took down a Hood from full health.
Okay.
He had size 3 to throw into him. He had 2 battle axe swings. He almost got there, but Demon's Hood's reduction is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I mean, 12 dice, and then on top of that, 4 guaranteed incoming damage from the throw is pretty darn good. So Quinn, the one caveat I want to throw out there with Skurge is the 2 tactics cards that come in this box very much are his. Weapons of Midgard and My Executioner or whatever it is. I think, as we spoke about before, Des and Troy probably with Midgard.
Clearly that card is Heimdall rocking up with a bazooka or something to give him a ranged attack.
It's going to be a baseball bat with barbed wire around it.
Oh,
Lucille.
Lucille.
But yeah, very much him. So it's hard to judge him too much yet because those tactics cards could be amazing. The one thing I will say is, and again, we spoke about this before, is that you don't want to rely on a tactics card for a 3 threat to make them really, really good. But if it's a joint tactics card that you play alongside him and Enchantress, for example, then I think there's, the opportunity cost isn't too high if it's just a single slot.
As the thought, potentially My Executioner, something in the vein of Execute from Corvus and Proxima.
I mean, something like that would be really good. It could be that. It could be something that is more along the lines of Daughters of Thanos, where once one of them's made an attack, the other one gets to make an attack. It depends. Again, it's hard to cast judgment yet because we haven't had everything. I would say right now, Quinn, he's in that middling, B tier-esque type character for me.
I mean, he's very much an affiliated character, isn't he?
Yeah,
you're not going to really see him elsewhere. I was thinking potentially he could be a cheap splash in Syndicate. He's got aggressive, relatively tanky bodyguard.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see him elsewhere? Do you think we're going to see him in Cabal because he's kind of bad, which is where all people go?
He stole the kids' lunch money, so he's probably in Cabal.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually, no, that sounds a lot more like Criminal Syndicate. That's profiteering.
It does actually. It's profiteering.
Right
yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, Quinn, I'm actually happy with the mini. I just don't like the paint job that's been done. It's a very good paint job, but he looks like he's about to go, by the powers of Grayskull, I have the power. But yeah, so for me, yeah, middling in
That was
terms of
some
where
sort of
he
old
is.
people reference.
It
Wasn't
really was, yes. Quinn, onto the one that I'm
The
far
one
more
that's
excited
good.
about, and one that, well, first of all, let's talk about the mini and the paint job, because that was a great paint job, whoever it is that did that
I
one.
mean, can we talk about the stark contrast between that mini and paint job and the character art on the card?
Yeah, very, very different. Very, very different indeed, which is unusual. So I think Tyler did the card artwork. I don't know who did the mini, but yeah, very, very
It's very
different.
interesting that he lost the cloak.
Yeah, lost the cloak. I mean, are we going to get a cloak in there though? Are we going to get some options? I
I mean,
don't
it'd be
know.
interesting. Maybe, like, it was left off the mini because with the Bifrost effect, you can't actually fit the cloak on. You
Maybe.
know,
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
you get, like, a choice in the pack. That'd be really cool. I think I would probably go for the cloak because I do like
I
cloaks.
do like cloaks. Yeah, they do make
Just
people look
having,
good.
Heimdall walk about and go whoosh with a cloak.
But let's go through Heimdall's card then. So Heimdall, the All-Seeing, aka Heimdall. He is 3s across the board. He is 6 stamina on his front. And once again, this Asgard trend we've seen, 5 stamina on his back, no other changes. He's also a 3 threat, so that caught us off guard. He's size 2, and he's a medium move, and he's on a small base. Let's address the elephant in the room, Quinn. He's not a leader.
I'm very happy about this. Very, very happy about this.
Which, I think we were both expecting him to be the second leader. We didn't want him to be, but we both expected him to be.
We felt like that was the direction AMG were probably going to go in, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a great deal of Asgard releases going forward.
No.
We've not had anything else spoiled in that vein except Malekith, who isn't... He's an enemy of Asgard, but he himself is
He's not. Yeah, he's not
Asgard
Asgardian. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, pretty standard across the board for defenses. 1 more stamina than a normal.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Valkyrie's entire stat line.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, not a leader. So let's have a look at what he has got then. So his first, or his only builder, I should say, is a strike, bog standard, 5 strength, range 2, power equal to damage dealt. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's like a strike.
It's absolutely bog standard. Could it have had something else on there? I think it could have done. I think a trigger on there of some sort.
Yeah,
wouldn't have been out of place, but it's fine. I do, however, Quinn, quite like his next attack, which is Horfund. If this attack deals damage,
what did you just call me?
Horfund.
You wash your mouth out right now.
If this attack deals damage after the attack is resolved, this character may push the target away medium.
No size restriction. Goodbye, Dormammu.
Yeah, goodbye a lot of people. I just played a game with him, Quinn, against Criminal Syndicate, and my opponent was getting so frustrated because I was playing Wakanda, and Heimdall, along with others, were just pushing Kingpin. So he basically did nothing the entire game. But yeah, that push away medium, not to be sniffed at.
I like to imagine that it's him, like, just shoving them through the Bifrost for, like, a short burst.
I think that's kind of what it's supposed to represent, isn't it? So, range 2, 7 strength, 3 cost. My gripe with this is the range 2.
Yeah.
And I kind of get why. If it was range 3, it probably could only have been a short push.
It being range 3 and medium would put probably too much distance between Heimdall and the person he's attacking, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but as you'll see in some of his other things, he's designed to sort of be stalwart and stand there and not be moved, isn't he? In terms of what he's doing, he wants people to come to him. So first one then, Guardian of the Bifrost. Choose this character or another character within range 4. Place it within range 2 of its current position. Can only be placed by the superpower once per turn. Costs 3. Pretty standard.
It's right. Skills teleport.
Teleport. It's what we expected. I maybe expected something a little bit more from Heimdall.
I expected something more akin to the dog. Really.
I would have rather have had 3-3 than 4-2. I think it would have been really, really nice, and I don't think it would have been overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're adding like the action kicker to it as well.
Oh, I don't think I'd have liked that.
All right, maybe you just make it once per turn rather than once per character per turn. Then it's probably a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, maybe, but still, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Reactive ability then, all-seeing eyes, and this is a really, really interesting one. In fact, he's got
the best part of his card.
He's got two parts of his card that we haven't really seen before. But all-seeing eyes, when an allied character within range 3 is attacking, I love how it's all-seeing, as long as it's no further than 3, is attacking, defending, or dodging during the modified dice step. This character may use this superpower. The allied character may re-roll up to 2 of its own dice. So 2 power, 2 re-rolls. Really nice.
Really good considering it works on dodges as well.
It does work on dodges.
It's not something you see super often, and dodges can be the bane of certain characters as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And just sometimes you just whiff a dodge roll.
Yeah.
And to your point, Quinn, there's very little dice modification for dodge rolls out there. Shuri's only does attacks and defenses. Yes, it's the X, but by not being X, and we'll have a little conversation about where we think he can fit, Quinn. By not being X, I think is a bit of is better for him. There is another part to this though, Quinn, but it says alternatively, when an allied character within 3 rolls dice for a crisis card or team tactics card, this character may use this superpower. The allied character may reroll up to 2 of its own dice. So crisis card, what does that mean? It means you walk up to the alien core, you roll 2 dice to try and find the core, or the rubble, to try and find the core. You whiff, you can reroll both. Same rules apply. If it's a failure, you're not going to be able to re-roll it.
So it doesn't quite double your odds, but it gets very close. It's
really, really close. So that's your first use case. Your second use case is things like lovable misfits. Things like well-laid plans. Things like what's the Red Skull Cabal one where you have to roll Cosmic Invigoration. So really good.
They're very much corner case uses, but they are real good.
They are niche, or not niche, but as you say, they are corner case. But remember, he can do this to himself. He is allied and within 3 of himself, so he can walk up, try and find a core, and have another go of it effectively. As long as he doesn't.
He's got enough power.
Assuming he's got enough power, yeah. So I really like that. As I say, I've been playing him in 2 affiliations, and we'll go into them in a little bit. But just stacking those rerolls just feels so good. Really, really good. His last reactive superpower then is Fourth End. When an enemy character ends a movement within range 2 of this character may use this superpower. Immediately make a strike attack against the enemy character. This superpower can be used only once per turn. Somebody ends a movement, and basically he gets to do a strike for 2 power.
Yeah, it's a very different take on the sort of booby traps-esque superpower, right?
It's, on one hand, it's not as good, because typically that's a range 3, and it is just straight damage. Usually 4 dice, straight damage. You get 2 successes.
Typically you're getting 1 damage.
They take 2. Yeah, typically you're getting 1. With this one, you have the element of crits and the element of potential rerolls.
And defense dice.
And defense dice to then counter them. So it's, on average, with a 5 dice builder into the average, 3 dice defenses, without any rerolls, you're going to be doing about 1.2, 1.3 damage. Rerolls bumps that up to somewhere near 2. So it could be a free this could be a free thing. I think
There's
where this,
also, like, if he does spike, suddenly you're building power out of activation.
which
With
is
that,
huge.
that combined with his all-seeing eyes and the rerolls he potentially gives out as a buff bot, could have huge implications for the rest of like a round or even like after.
Massive. If you catch an opponent off guard with it and you spike and you do 3 damage to them and you daze them and you end their turn immediately,
Yeah.
that's big. That is absolutely massive.
I mean, also potentially, if your opponent just has forgotten about the ability and they have a character that's very important to them, maybe they're holding an objective or whatever. If they stray outside of a bodyguard range, I'm thinking like, a Rocket and Groot situation.
Yeah.
If they absentmindedly move out of that bodyguard range, suddenly you're hitting the raccoon, and the raccoon is having a very bad time.
Yeah. Well, and also the wombo combo things, right? Somebody like a Cassandra Nova, and I just pick her off the top of my head because she's got a guaranteed move, but I'm being played in Wakanda, right? All these any movement, it's not a movement action.
Yeah, it's movement.
It's anything. So it can be a charge. It will disrupt a charge. So you will get to do your attack before your opponent gets to actually make their attack of their charge. Any throws, any pushes, any placements. You're going to be able to use it. So again, you want to be careful because the one thing, Quinn, I will say about Heimdall is maybe more than any other character I've seen in the game, you have to be very careful with power and where you choose to spend it because he's not going to have an abundance. He has a 5 dice builder and
that's
that is
range
it.
2 as well. So he's typically only getting 1 attack in each round. If you flub that attack, you're not having the best of times.
Yeah. And obviously he's Asgardian, so he gets extra power, but even so, I think you've got to be very, very careful. If somebody's walking up to you, I'm trying to think of an example. Somebody with inured to pain or reduces damage by 1 and they've taken no damage so far and they're on 5 health left, probably not worth spending the 2 power on it. That power will be better spent elsewhere, probably in defense rerolls. And keeping yourself alive for longer, or keeping yourself on your healthy side for longer. So as we say, exactly the same on his injured side, with the exception of that one reduction in stamina. We don't think there's any tactics cards for him. Quinn, me and you have both played him a lot. You've played him in Asgard. I haven't. So give me your thoughts initially on how he played in Asgard for you.
I mean, once again, it was only the 1 game in Asgard. However, he did definitely prove his worth. He was very, very good at just saving Thor from bad dice situations. Which, I mean, as we all know, Thor finds himself in a lot.
I mean, 2 rerolls for Thor for 2 power is very good.
Yeah,
and we've said it's the one thing that Thor's been missing for a long time, isn't it? His dice modification.
Yeah, I mean, also just defensively getting those rerolls in is really nice as well. I didn't really have many opportunities to attack with him, which was unfortunate, but just having him stand there and be this, little peek over the edge for Thor really, really does help. Fishing for that wall, just fishing for more damage, which gives him more power. It's very much a cascading effect it has on how Thor performs.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with Asgard is, priority is probably something you're going to be having most turns. You're not playing very wide with Asgard. So he's going to be able to get off at least one of these all-seeing eyes every turn because he gains 2 power every turn unless he's stunned. Maybe that's one thing I would have liked to have seen on him, immune to stun, because his power's not great. But
if you're in Asgard, Thor's leadership, pay a power, get rid of it.
Yeah, you get rid of it. Yeah, so it's not too much of an issue, is it? But so you're probably going to have priority, and leading with Thor from turn 2 onwards or round 2 onwards, is probably a thing you're going to be doing quite a lot, especially if Heimdall sat nearby, being able to give him those reroll buffs that he definitely needs. So, where else have you tried him out and played him, Quinn?
Oh, that's a secret, Rich. But
Oh,
the
I was
answer
going to
is...
say.
Oh, Nat, do I give the answer? Or
I mean,
do I keep it
it's
for
Avengers. I know what it is. Steve's Avengers. I'm going to tell
It was a
people.
secret from everyone else, Rich.
Yeah, because nobody else had realised that a character with 2 reactive superpowers wasn't going to be really good.
I have a lot less faith in the general populace than you do.
This is true. This is true.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
it is Steve Avengers. All-seeing eyes for 1 power every turn. Pretty damn good.
yeah, and I almost see him, Quinn, in Avengers as I don't quite have 5 threat to put Strange in my squad. In you go, Heimdall. Like, obviously, he's not doing, he's not doing the same job.
He's not that control element. He's not doing all the healing. He's not doing a lot of things that Strange would. What he is doing, though, is potentially massively up-tuning your offense, which is a thing that Strange doesn't do at all.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And he costs 2 less. And he's also got the Guardian of the Bifrost as well. So he can, he can move pieces around. Often Steve will have been moved out of position or something. They've separated Steve away from Hulk, right? Or Voodoo, or, whoever it is.
And then Heimdall just turns around and goes,
Boop. There you go. So yeah, I see him being really good in Avengers. As I mentioned, I have been trying him out in Wakanda. I've had 3 games with him now. I think I'm 3 wins with Wakanda. 3 for 3, I think.
I assume we're discounting the game we played.
Well, the one that didn't finish, yeah.
The one that didn't finish, but also the one where you did a 9 dice attack with Killmonger, rolled 5 skulls. Yeah,
it was terrible, wasn't it? Just
Real
flashbacks of Magneto. But in Wakanda, he's so good. He's real good because he can. Obviously, he's got access then to more rerolls, right? Which is always good. But giving other characters more rerolls when they really need them. A Killmonger being able to not only reroll 1 of his own dice through leadership, but then getting 2 from Heimdall, and then potentially 2 or even 3 from Shuri on those big usurp the throne attacks where you really need, you've made that investment in a usurp the throne tactics card and it's gone wrong. Having those people on hand is really, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, the thing with Wakanda and having that many rerolls is that you can wait to be really opportunistic with your attacks.
Yes.
You can have a bunch of attacks that, your opponent rolls, like, 2 or 3 blocks, and you're like, this isn't worth it, this isn't worth it. But then that one time where they blank out, and maybe your roll isn't that great, maybe you got, like, 2 successes, but you don't have any skulls, and suddenly you convert that 2 into 5.
5 or 6 or whatever it is.
Massive swing.
Yeah, huge, absolutely huge. So yeah, really, really enjoying him in Wakanda. I've also tried him in Guardians. I did play a game last night of Guardians and played with him, and again won the game. And do you know what's better than a single winging it token, Quinn? It's 2 of them, because this is essentially what it does, right? It is exactly the same as a winging it token, but it has
on the exact same thing as well.
But it's got obviously the range stipulation. So doubling down on those rerolls, especially again, Quinn, going back to those situations like with a Gamora, or anybody where they've just fluffed the dice. Penance stare on a Ghost Rider, right, where he's fluffed it a little bit. Just being able to redo those is really, really nice. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with him. I can see him being splashed in a lot of places.
Yep.
I think it'd be interesting to see where else we see him. But I think we're going to see him quite a bit. I don't think I saw a post on Facebook saying, "Oh my God, power creep! These 2 characters are so overpowered."
Oh, what? You mean the kind of post that is put there every time anything is released ever? Oh, no.
Yeah. And I don't think it is. I think he really struggles with power generation.
Yeah.
Not struggles. He has just enough to do usually 1 thing per turn. And it's about making sure you choose the right time to spend that power to do that right thing.
And obviously the idea with the Avengers is that I'm effectively doubling his output.
You're doubling his output. Yeah, because he gets to do 2 all-seeing eyes for the price of one, basically. As long as it's within separate turns. So yeah, really, really like Heimdall. I think he's a great addition to the Asgardians. And you know what it means, Quinn, don't you?
Ooh.
Odin.
I mean, just to further emphasise that point, obviously we had the absolutely gorgeous Malekith model, didn't we, Rich?
We did have the utterly gorgeous Malekith model.
Which very much gives me hope that we have sort of a counterpoint model in the form of Odin riding Sleipnir.
It seems, because obviously now we know about it. Oh, we'll talk a little bit about that Malekith model because it was so goddamn gorgeous. We're not going to talk about the other stuff yet, but obviously it was the painting animal section, right?
Yeah. Painting
animals. Not painting an animal, painting animals.
I mean, does that thing count as two animals because it's like a tiger and a bat?
I don't think so, no. I don't think that's how it works. A griffin's not animals, is it?
I mean, it's made up of animals.
It's made up of animals, but it is it's not even an animal, is it? It's a beast.
Well, no.
And mythology, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But yeah, it's a god. I mean, you'll see obviously down below. Absolutely gorgeous model. We know that he's a leader of Cabal. We can guess that he's going to be more than 6 threat. I don't think he's going to be 8 threat. So if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say 7.
Oh, would you pick the number between 6 and 8?
I would do, yeah. But I love the wording. We'll change the way that Cabal is played. Which, let's be honest, it bloody needs it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there may be another thing that very much changes how Cabal plays, but we won't get into that.
No, we won't get into that one here. But so overall, Quinn, what are your thoughts? Are you happy with the new characters we've got? Are you, were you wanting more from them? Are you a bit annoyed that it's not a leader, but then are kind of like, well, I am kind of glad he isn't a leader because, it does leave the door open for.
I'm glad we've got them. I'm glad we've got Heimdall specifically because Heimdall's just a cool character, right? But and he's also very good in game. The one thing I am sort of holding out for is just a bit more for Asgard. They're up to 8 models now.
Is it that many?
Yeah, I think so because it's Thor, Valkyrie, Loki, Hela, Enchantress Angela, and then these 2.
Yeah, these 2 is 8 now. So it's not a small affiliation by any means.
It's not a small affiliation, but that roster could be so much broader in scope.
It could be.
I've been saying it for months now. I want the Warriors 3. I want Sith. I want Mighty Thor. I want Odin. Give me the cool Asgardians, please, AMG, please. I want Odin. He's my friend.
Yeah, it would be good to have him. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, there we go, guys. That is our breakdown of Skurge and Heimdall. It's good to be back. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. And if you have enjoyed the video in any way, shape or form, please do leave a like. It really, really does help. And if you want to support the channel even further, we have our Patreon up and running. And one of those tiers on Patreon will give you access to our monthly competitive tournament that we run, which was run by Quinn this month as I was on holiday.
I did it.
He didn't burn the world to the ground, so that was good.
I mean, look, we are set to have the fastest running Patreon event ever. Yeah.
So there we go.
Because of my efficient and meticulous coordination as an event planner.
There we go. It's because he's got nothing else to do. But yes, if you want to be involved in that, head down to the link in the description below and you'll see the details for that. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, what you're doing, head over there. It's 500 people on there now. All things MCP, plus some other things on there as well. A whole bunch of other games that we're playing. So head on over there and check it out. It's completely free to join. And I suppose, Quinn, as always, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.
See you.